in the presence of the Lord. It is always a pleasure to see the family of God coming together. Jesus. Today, we want to talk about the topic of control your tongue. Taking control of your tongue. Book of James, chapter 3. James chapter 3. We will be reading from verse 2 down to verse 12. Control your tongue. Taking control of your tongue. James chapter 3, from verse 2. Book of James chapter 3, beginning from verse 2. We'll go down to verse 12. The Bible says, "For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. Behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the sheep, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, wheresoever the governor wants. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasts great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindles. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defiles the whole body, and sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, and has been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceeds blessings and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Does a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine, figs, so can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. Very, very interesting and detailed. The tongue. The Bible tells us that the tongue is one of the smallest members of our bodies, but it can do great things and cause great damages. The tongue. It is something that is small, but it must be controlled. If the tongue is not controlled, problems will be inevitable from happening to us. The tongue is something that is given to us by God to speak, but to speak good things. The same tongue, if it is not controlled and managed well, it can also bring us and put us into lots of trouble. Now, anything we do, majority, whatever we do, if there are wars in the world, it is because of the tongue. If there is war now between Russia and the West or NATO in Ukraine, it is because of the tongue. Somebody spoke and promised another one that, look, this alliance, NATO, will end in Germany. It will not expand 1 inch from Germany. And the other guy agreed that fine, for your security and our security, we must not collide or clash. So that's fine. You stay there and we will stay on this side. The tongue has spoken. But then the other side again decided to do what? To breach the words they spoken. They spoke among themselves and agreed to now continue to expand eastward. So, the other side now objected and said, no, this is not what we agreed. You have to respect the agreement we had before so there can be peace. But the other side, the alliance, said, no, we want to keep expanding. And as a result, the other side said, well, enough is enough. Now we will have to deal with it by force. That's why we have war. It's because of the tongue. The Bible says that offense is difficult. Man often offends in words. If, the Bible says, if you manage to not to offend in words, if you manage to keep your tongue and control it so that you don't commit sin because of your tongue, the Bible says that that man or that person is a perfect person. It says in verse 2, for in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle or control the whole body, direct the whole body. Yeah? If we don't offend in words, then we become perfect. It will be hard for us to sin or offend against or offend others if we are able to control our tongue. Verse 3 said, behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Verse 4 says, behold, ships also, which though they be so great, so big, but are driven of fierce wind, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, wherever the governor guides it or wants it to go. If you want to take control, the Bible is saying, if you want to control a horse, you want to be able to get them to do what you want them to do, what we do is we give them something, we put in their mouths. And once they begin to eat, then when you instruct them or you direct them to do something or go this way, that way, they begin to obey. Verse 5, even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindles. The Bible is likening our tongue with a little fire. For you to be able to start a big fire, even to burn this whole building, you don't need big fire. With one stick of matches, you can build burn the whole building. So is the tongue. It is a small member, but it can cause great damage. That's why it is wisdom, it is wise to control the tongue. It is, the Bible calls it a little fire. And verse 6, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature, and it's set on fire of hell. You see that? The tongue is a fire. You know, everything we do, you have to speak. You have to use your tongue. When you go search for a work, for example, or you go and sign a contract, if they accept you, you have to say something. They will tell you, read to you, or explain to you the terms and conditions of your employment. And you have to agree to it. Your tongue, you have to say something. Agree to those terms and conditions. Basically, you are promising your boss that I will abide by the rules of this company, follow the policies and obey them, so things can work out smoothly. Now, your tongue said something, your tongue spoke, and your boss took that as a promise. Now, if later on they begin to see that you are now doing contrary things to the policies of the company, then what comes in their mind is this guy or this person, woman or man, they promised, they agreed that they will follow the policies of this company. Now they are doing different things. That is what causes the trouble of us losing employment. With a little lie, we can lose employment, we can spoil relationships, we can cause people to begin to distrust us rather than trusting us. So, all that can happen because of what? Because of a small member of our body called the tongue. So the tongue can get us into lots of trouble and cause us to do things that we will regret later on. If you don't want to be in that condition, then all of us, we have to learn to control, keep our tongues under control. Before you say something, you think about it first. Those who speak without thinking, those who speak just throwing words out without thinking, they will speak and speak and speak. They will come and think about it later. They find themselves most of times in trouble. People fight. They get into physical fight because of the tongue. If people can control their tongues, it will be hard for somebody to get into a fight, physical fight. Because what causes most of times people to result in exchanging punches is because somebody used their tongues in a wrong way. Somebody full of ego, somebody so arrogant, who are full of themselves, they see like talking nicely to a person, even if they offended them, they did something wrong to them, talking nice to a person, even if you are to contest of the wrong deed done to you. There is always a better way, a nicer way that somebody can do it. But because people are full of ego, they are arrogant, they are full of themselves, see themselves as being too big, they will choose to use very harsh words, they will choose to curse, say a word that will offend the other one so much that the other one will say, aha, you think you are the only one who can talk. Then they too will use their tongue in a very harsh way, and as a result, people begin to fight. And most of times, that is how it happens, that when they fight, somebody's hurt, somebody got a black eye, whatever. They were there before the fight broke out. They were like, they are the biggest person in the world. But once they go home with a black eye or a cut or something, they get home, sit down when they are now by themselves. They sit down, they will not be tough anymore. They begin now to, those pictures will come back to you, definitely. When you sit on your own, the picture will come back to you of what happened, and then you begin to regret. But by that time, it is too late. People were shocked and died or ended up gravely injured just because of lack of control of their tongues. Tongue is a small member, but it can get you into a big trouble. It gets us in lots of trouble. So, if you come to the point where you can exercise self-control and begin to control your tongue, you will save yourself lots of trouble. Because we offend many times by our tongue. That's why the Bible says, if you can control your tongue, you are a perfect man or woman. Control of the tongue. Verse 8. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. See that? Verse 9. Therewith we bless God, we bless God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. You see what the Bible is saying? Tongue is full of poison. Meaning, because of your tongue, you can utter words that can destroy a life. If you lack control of your tongue, you can speak out words that can destroy a person. You know, there are words that you can speak to somebody, some people, when they speak, you can see poison in their words. They speak to hurt. When they speak to you, they will choose those words that will hurt your spirit. You will stay days thinking. Those words will keep coming into your mind. They will choose some insults that you will not forget for a week. Tongue is evil, the Bible says. It is full of poison. Those people who don't control their tongues, it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing. The Bible says, with the same tongue, we bless God, but with the same tongue, we also curse men, human beings who are made in the image of God. With the same tongue, or out of the same mouth, proceeds blessings and cursings. You see, with your tongue, you can bless a life. But with your tongue, you can also curse. With your tongue, you can build, a life or you can destroy it. Many things with the tongue. Tongue is a dangerous member, must be controlled. You have to control tongue if you want to live a peaceful life. With our own tongue, we even manage to limit our lives. With our tongue, sometimes we even self-curse without knowing it. You know that? You can bring a curse upon yourself using your mouth. You see? You can destroy your own life using your tongue. So it's a very dangerous thing. It's not only it's not only a weapon against other people, but it can also be a weapon against yourself by what you say and confess about your life or about yourself. So, tongue is a dangerous member of our bodies. That's why the Bible tells us that never confess the situation that you see around you. Never confess the negativity that is happening in your life. Confess or speak what you want your life to be. You see that? Don't magnify the evil that the enemy is throwing towards you by confessing it. You see? If poverty or lack is in your life, then you keep confessing it. You keep making it big. Oh, this is just how I am. I will never have anything special. My life will remain just like this. This is just how we are in our family. You are basically stamping, putting a stamp of approval on poverty the enemy is throwing towards your life. You see? That's why the Bible says, let the weak say, I am strong. And let the poor say, I am rich. You see that? Even though momentarily you are living in lack, but never use your tongue to begin to magnify it, lift that poverty and lack up. Begin to agree to it. If you are weak or sick or whatever, mind your tongue. Control your tongue. If you begin to magnify, lifting that sickness up, agreeing to that sickness, you are basically giving it an entry visa. You are accepting it. You are giving it a stamp of approval to remain with you. You see? That's why the Bible says, those who are weak, confess that I am strong. And those who are poor, confess that I am rich. So you don't magnify the poverty in your life, but you call or you speak out, you confess what your dreams are, what you hope and want to be in life. And by confessing, basically, you are calling that which you want to be to manifest in your life. You see, that is how you self-curse. That is how you can bring limitations into your life. Because the words we speak, we think they are just like wind. You just speak them, they are gone and lost forever. No. The words we speak, they hang in the air. The devil hears every word we speak. When he hears it, if it is negative that you are confessing, the devil now will grab those words and begin to use it against yourself. That is how it works. Words are never lost. When you speak it, it remains in the spiritual realm. You see that? The same way, God also will use your positive confession to bring that what you are confessing to manifest into your life. The same way the devil will use your negative words to bring it into manifestation in your life. So you stay in that condition. You see? Because the devil always mimics, copies what God does. The Bible tells us to confess what we want to be, to confess positivity for our lives. Why? Because God uses those positive words to manifest them into our lives. So the devil does the same thing, he copies, but he cannot use positive words because he is not on the side of good. He is on the side of bad. Use negative words to bring it to pass into your life. You see? That's why you be careful how you use your word, your tongue. To yourself, first of all, and then to others. Remember, I preached the last 2 weeks about how love is great, love is greater. I explained that we sin in 2 ways. We sin directly to God, and we sin towards our fellow human being. You see, now when it comes to tongue, you can curse yourself, limit your life by using your tongue against yourself without even knowing it. And then using your tongue when you are relating to your neighbor or your fellow human being. That can get you into trouble if you are not in control. Yeah? Tongue is a fire, the Bible says. Tongue can destroy or it can build. Relationships are destroyed because of tongue. Marriages end up in divorce. Why? Because there was tongue used in a bad way. Lack of control of that tongue is why we see many divorces. There will no divorce happening with tongue being used. Somebody, even if somebody cheated in the marriage, When they come home, they went out and cheated and did all kinds of things. When they come home, the other partner asks them, where have you been? They will never come and say that, look, I was out there cheating on you. They will use their tongue to do what? To lie. But when the other one now finds out what they are doing, now, both sides will use tongue. And whatever, the way they use their tongues will determine if that marriage survives or ends up in divorce. It's because of the tongue. Relationships, friendships are broken and destroyed because of tongue. We lack control of tongue. It's a dangerous little fire that we have. Families end up in separation and hating one another. Siblings end up hating one another and become enemies because of the tongue. Tongue is it's not something we should take lightly. Tongue is dangerous. Parents end up fighting and separating from their children and begin to leave us enemies. I have seen people. A young daughter, or male or female, you can even tell them about their enemy, but don't talk or tell them anything about their father or their parents. They hate their parents so much, so badly, that it's impossible, it's difficult to imagine. See, because of the tongue. Tongue can bless, tongue can curse. Tongue can build, tongue can destroy. But in this case, most of times, the tongue is used to destroy rather than build in this world. The tongue is destroying more than building because we lack control over it. Marriages that could have survived, marriages that could have stayed, ends up in divorce because somebody lacked the humility. They ended up misusing their tongue, and a simple matter that could have been resolved easily ends up in a big trouble, and then separation sets in. You see? Why? Because just of the tongue. It was a very small matter. Many people, if that's why you see marriages, some marriages, if you ask the couples, why are you divorced? When they tell you the reason, you begin to think like, oh my God, is this the reason why they divorced? Yes. You see, it was a simple thing, but somebody lacked the control of their tongue. They misused it, therefore kindled a big fire out of a very simple, small matter that could have been solved easily. See, the Bible says, nice words causes anger to go down. You see that? When somebody is angry, if you know you are in the wrong, even sometimes, even you may even be right, but once you see anger begins to rise, choose not to misuse your tongue. Choose not to retaliate with harsh words. That is kindling fire. You will kindle fire. But if you use nice words to communicate to your partner or to a person whom you have issues to settle, it saves trouble. Nice words will calm an angry person down. You see? If you use your tongue properly, you have control of your tongue, and you use it in a proper way, you will save yourself lots of troubles. Even a friendship or a relationship or a marriage that was on the verge of breaking down can be saved if somebody can be humble enough to control their tongue. And how many people ended up living in regret because they could not control their tongues? They used it in a bad way, they kindled fire, then they ended up losing their marriage or losing their good friendship or relationship. Then when now, because always, the devil always comes when you get upset if you do not control yourself. That is when the devil comes. Because when you are upset, you will do things quickly without thinking. You see that? You will speak quick without thinking. Then you end up destroying many things without taking notice. Now, when you go home and sit down by yourself, you begin now to think and reason, then you begin now to regret. Many people are living in regret because they misuse their tongue in that marriage, in that friendship, in that relationship, in that place of employment. They could not control their tongues, they messed up, and then they lost everything, and then ended up living in regret. But by that time, it's already too late. You see? So, very important to control our tongue. That's why the Bible says it's important to know, verse 10, that out of the mouth, the same mouth proceeds blessings and curse. Proverbs chapter 18. Proverbs is after the book of Psalm. Proverbs chapter 18. And we are reading verse 21. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. The Bible says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. You see that? Death and life are in the power of tongue. You see? We use our tongues to speak words. Its tongue is crucial. God created everything by speaking. You see? By using his tongue to speak. He spoke everything into existence. using his tongue. You see that? So, the devil also, evil people also, to harm and to destroy lives and to curse, they also use tongue, they also use words. See that? If you went and consulted a witch doctor and you said, look, help me to curse that person, or help me to destroy their destiny, so they can fall, so they can become lose everything they have. The witch person will do witchcraft, and then they will ask you, number one, they themselves, once they do the witchcraft, they will always speak. Always. Those witches and wizards, they will always use their tongue to speak words on the witchcraft they have made against a person. And then they will also tell the person who consulted them that, look, when you go home, maybe in the night or early in the morning, at this time, exactly this time, 12 midnight, 1 a.m., wake up, do these incantations against that person. You see what they are telling you? To use your tongue to speak. And when you do that, why they ask you to speak incantations? Why? Because you will speak negativity against that person. You see? You use your tongue to speak bad words, negative words, evil wishes against the person you want to destroy. And then demons now will use those negative, evil, bad words and wishes to go and manifest it in the life of that person. And then after a little while, you'll see a person who was doing okay in life, all of a sudden they begin to, they fell down, they begin to lose everything they had, they begin to become just, their life just turning to nothing, into zero. You see? Nothing is done without words. Why is that? Because words are powerful. You can create with words. God created with words. So does the devil. Words are very, very, very powerful. That's why we should be careful, extra careful, especially when we are upset. When you are upset against your children, against your wife or husband, against your family, against even your friend, that is when you have to be very careful. Because if you are not careful enough, when you get upset, that is, as I said before, that is when the time the devil comes in quickly to inspire you with bad words, to inspire you to use your tongue in a bad way, to lose control of your tongue. And when you lose control of your tongue because you are upset, you end up saying things you shouldn't have said. You say things you did not intend to say. You see, that's why people regret when they, after saying it, then when they now leave, they say, oh my God, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. You see? But by that time, the damage has already been caused. You see? You have already destroyed a relationship. You have already destroyed a marriage. You have already messed up your employment. You see? Because you did not control your tongue when you was talking with your boss and you was upset. By then the damage is done. And you begin to regret. So when we are upset, that is when we should be extra careful. With your children, you may end, when you are upset, if you are not careful, you may end up begin to say things that are negative against your children, against their lives. You may even begin to speak words that can affect their future, their destinies. So you need to be very careful. Because the devil uses those words. That's why if you consult witches and wizards, they will always, occultic people, Satanists, all those people, they will always give you words to recite. They will always give you incantations to make because of the principle I'm talking about. The devil will want you to say it, because once you say it, you are giving your approval, the stamp of approval. Then they will use the words you say. They will carry those words and go and do damage to others. You see? That's why the devil wants you to confess something out of your mouth. He watches your words. He wants you to say something. Because if what you say goes against your life, he uses it against you. If because you are upset, your children are a blessed children, they have great destiny, but they did something wrong, and when now you begin to speak to them, you spoke words that are cursing, words that goes against their lives and destiny, the devil will grab those words and begin to work them, to work it against your children's life. Work it against your wife's life. Work it against your husband's life. Very important. If you marry, it's important to know how to control your tongue. Very, very important. One thing I always commend my wife for, that is that. If you are upset, if I am upset and speak to her, she knows that I am upset. She never, since we were married, she never replies with a bad word. She will rather stay quiet. She will never say something negative to me. That is one thing I command my wife for. She did something wrong, or she didn't do something wrong. If I speak to her, maybe in a loud voice, or just she feels that I'm not happy, she will not reply. If she replied, she will never say something bad or bad word to me. Never. You see? So that somebody may think like she's showing weakness or she's being weak. But no, that is rather a strength. You see? That is a strength. It's giving you nothing to fight with. Exactly. She will never use her tongue negatively against me. And that keeps us going. You see? It saves lots of problems. So very important, especially with your friendships, relationships with siblings, families, if you marry wife or husband, it's very, very important to be in control of your tongue. In life, in business partners, your tongue, the way you use it with them, even if you didn't curse or swear, but when you are doing your dealings, if you begin to use your tongue to deceive or to lie, nobody will want to do business with you. You see? So your tongue is very, very important to be controlled. It will save you lots of troubles. That's why the Bible says, if you can control it, you will be a perfect man. If you can control it 100%, it will be hard for you to get into troubles. It takes a wisdom and lots of self-control and self-restraint to control your tongue. But it is a great strength if you can achieve it. Yeah? Very, very important. May God bless you, and may God bless His word. So we will pray. Pray for the message you heard. Pray for the Lord to give you the grace to control your tongue. And another person, let me also give credit where credit is due. It's also my daughter. This is the best daughter you can think of. My daughter is the same like her mom. Once she knows that she made a mistake, you talk to her, there will be no reply. She will not talk. She will stay quiet. She will not. Negative words in her mouth since she was born up to now. Never. So it's very, very important. Yeah. Saves lots of trouble.